Hello and welcome to the True Crime Never Sleep show. As always, I'm your host, Larry Elise. Today, we dive back into the murder of Charlie Kirk and take a look at the possibility that Tyler Robinson could get off. Or is it possible at all? I've been trying to stay on top of literally every element of the Charlie Kirk assassination, especially when it comes to the case against the alleged assassin Tyler Robinson. In a case like this, every new detail matters. Every update, every court motion, every word spoken in the courtroom shapes public perception. So much of this story is unfolding in real time, and I want to break it all down clearly: what's happened, what it means, and where things are going next. Over the last 24 hours, a number of significant developments have come out of Utah. The most recent hearing was held virtually. Tyler Robinson wasn't visible on camera, but he was present, listening in and acknowledging his appearance. That's actually one of the few times we've ever heard his voice publicly. It was brief, just a simple confirmation, but in a case this big, even those small moments carry weight. A lot of people, including myself, were watching that hearing closely, in part because we expected a ruling on whether cameras would be allowed in the courtroom long term. That didn't happen. The judge delayed that decision, saying he still wants input from both sides. And that to me is a big moment, or rather a missed one. In a case where theories are running rampant and trust in the system is shaky, letting the public see the trial firsthand seems like the obvious path forward. As a podcaster and observer of the legal process, I've always believed that courtrooms should be open. Transparency builds trust. When people see justice being done, they're more likely to believe in it. And in a case like this, where the public is split and conspiracy theories are gaining traction, keeping the camera out only makes things worse. The judge did make other decisions, though. One of them involved how Tyler Robinson will appear in court. His attorneys, he has 3 of them, including 2 high-profile lawyers from California, asked that he be allowed to wear civilian clothes in court instead of a jail-issued jumpsuit, and the judge agreed. That might seem like a small detail, but it isn't. The way a defendant looks in court influences how people see him. A suit and tie sends a very different message than an orange jumpsuit. It speaks to the presumption of innocence, which is supposed to be the foundation of our legal system. If we say someone is innocent until proven guilty, we have to treat them that way in every aspect of the process, including how they appear before a jury or the public. But while Robinson will get to wear civilian clothes, the judge also ruled that he'll remain shackled during court appearances. His legal team argued against it, saying it creates an image of guilt and danger. And while the judge acknowledged that Robinson has no criminal history and has behaved well in jail, he ultimately decided that the seriousness of the charges and the high emotional stakes of this case warranted extra security. So now we're in a situation where Tyler Robinson will appear in a suit, but he'll also be shackled. It's a visual contradiction. Presumed innocent, yet physically restrained. In a high-profile, televised trial, that contradiction will matter. Speaking of jail, Robinson remains in the Utah County Jail, the same jurisdiction where Charlie Kirk was murdered. And while they didn't want to get into specifics about Robinson's behavior, they did acknowledge how unusual this level of national attention has been. They've been flooded with letters, some angry, some supportive, from people all over the country. And so far, by their account, Robinson has followed all the rules and hasn't caused any issues. Still, the emotional temperature around this case is high. There's no way around it. The governor has repeatedly said he wants the death penalty. Prosecutors have echoed that. Even national figures have weighed in, from the FBI director to Kash Patel to the president of the United States himself. All have publicly stated that authorities got the right guy. But that's a huge problem for the concept of fair trial. When the president says the case is closed, where does that leave the presumption of innocence? How do you seat a neutral jury in that climate? And more broadly, how can the public have confidence that the outcome of this case won't just follow the political winds? This is why venue changes are sometimes pursued, to try and find a jury pool that hasn't been influenced by media coverage or political rhetoric. But in a case this big, where do you even go? It's a state-level trial, so it has to happen in Utah. Maybe Salt Lake City, with its more politically moderate population, gives the defense a better chance. But even there, people have already formed opinions. Everyone has heard about this case. That's what makes jury selection on this case so crucial and so challenging. It's not just about legal qualifications. It's about finding people who can push aside everything they've heard and focus only on what's presented in court. That's a tall order when the entire political establishment has already weighed in. The next significant court date was supposed to be the preliminary hearing, the first real opportunity for the public to hear some of the evidence. That was scheduled for this week, but has now been pushed to January. Again, no surprise there. With a case of this size, there's a massive amount of material to go through. The prosecution is still building its case, and the defense is still analyzing the evidence they've received. This delay signals that both sides are treating the case with the gravity it demands. The stakes are literally life and death, and in a capital case, the timeline stretches. Everything slows down, every motion takes longer, every detail is scrutinized. But that delay also leaves room for speculation, and there's been plenty of it. One of the biggest concerns people have raised is the lack of clarity around the investigation itself. Where's the autopsy? How exactly did the shooting happen? How did the shooter get on the roof? How did they get down? And why didn't the bullet go all the way through? These are valid questions, and the fact that so few answers have been given, officially, is a real problem. When law enforcement and prosecutors remain silent, the public starts filling in the blanks themselves. Conspiracy theories aren't just born out of imagination. They grow in the gaps left by institutions that refuse to communicate. That's why the district attorney's office has a responsibility to step up, hold a press conference, walk people through the basics, bring in a ballistics expert to explain how distance affects a bullet's velocity, provide a simple timeline, answer the obvious questions. The public isn't asking for classified documents, just clarity. The lack of response so far makes it feel like they're not prepared for the scale of this case. And maybe they aren't. Few local jurisdictions are. They need to be now, because the spotlight isn't going away. And we're still waiting on the decision about cameras. As far as I'm concerned, that choice should have already been made. This trial needs to be visible. The only way to counter the skepticism and suspicion is to let people see the process for themselves. Open the doors, show the evidence, let the public judge what's real and what's rumor. Because if the trial is closed off, if it happens behind a curtain, then no matter what the verdict is, people won't believe it. The system's legitimacy will take another hit, and at a time when trust in institutions is already dangerously low, we can't afford that. This trial will be a stress test for the justice system. It's not just Tyler Robinson on trial. It's the courts, the prosecutors, the process itself. If we get it right, maybe some trust can be rebuilt. But if we get it wrong, if it looks rushed, politically driven, or manipulated, then whatever credibility remains could be lost. Justice doesn't just need to be done. It needs to be seen being done. And this time, the whole world will be watching. And that is all the news we have on the Charlie Kirk murder investigation. And with that, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/TCNS. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.